please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Well, the SGX Nifty is indicating that we'll have a flat start, but the market's texture is so weak. Yesterday, you saw the way Nifty, Bank Nifty, even IT index moved, especially between 230 to 330, and we closed at the absolute low point of the day. Ashwani, Gujral, Sudarshan, Sukhani, and Mitesh Thakkar with us. Good morning, Ashwani. How much more on the expansion side you reckon for the market? What would be your trade if we have a flat opening?
Well, good morning. I think you will get flatness for the first couple of hours. There isn't too much strength in the market to have a fancy, rally. Maybe even 40-50 points could be difficult. But I don't think early morning you should be getting short. Possibly if you get a sideways type of action, and maybe later on, depending on where crude etc. is, you could get a further breakdown. But now, after this 11,400 broke down, the speed of the decline has increased, and my sense is that from here the end will be fairly near, because now there is no real support, and basically Bank Nifty will chances are get down to 26,200 to 400. Similarly, Nifty, while it's at the 50-day moving average, I think 11,050 thereabouts to about 11,150. Somewhere in that vicinity we could get fairly easily.
Okay, so another gut-wrenching fall is possible today itself?
See, the way Nifty is falling, crude is rising, and similarly rupee is falling. So the trends are very extreme in all of these spaces. So if rupee continues to fall, say beyond 73, crude is almost at 80, I think 40 cents lower. So if that happens, then it will be all bets are off, and the market can fall very easily because we have these macro headwinds. So while other markets may be down 50 points, etc., we could do our own thing and probably accelerate the pressure on the downside.
Okay. Sudarshan, good morning. Let's get your view. Given the ferocity of the fall last two sessions, at the opening, would you have a short trade, or would you wait and see if it's settling?
No, we have a short trade from the beginning of the month, and the view has been that this month, September, will close much lower. So that view is consistent. Now, at some point, the markets will come and stop falling before they consolidate and decide on the next way. But I think what we have to do is wait patiently for the markets to consolidate. It is possible that 11,300 may be a stopping point for some time at least, but the final targets for this decline seem to be 10,900 or whereabouts, which is where strong support comes in. The Nifty Bank is a much easier trade because support is much closer there. So I'm hoping that we come to support quickly. 26,200 to 26,400, that's not far away. So it does appear that let us wait for the markets to settle and consolidate. Either they will renew their decline towards the levels I said, 10,900 for the Nifty, or perhaps we'll then review our short positions then. Today, the markets are in a downtrend and we stay short.
Okay. Mitesh, good morning. Your thoughts on the indices?
Good morning, Anuj. So we were talking about markets breaking below 11,400 could possibly suggest more declines. I think that has happened. The first target was around 11,270, 250, which was achieved in the same day, which I didn't expect, to be very honest. And I believe that this will mean that we will have further lowers. The indicator setup continues to point downside, which means that I'm looking at targets close to about 11,150 to about 11,070 also being tested as two targets on the downside. Having said that, I think I wouldn't short immediately. I think I would wait for some kind of a bounce back to play on in case we get closer to about 11,310, 320. I think that could be better levels to look at shorting the markets.
Oh, okay. So everyone's talking about that 11,050 mark, and of course, Sudarshan goes even lower to 10,900. Well, let us start with stock strategies. Which one would you bet on, Ashwani?
See, on stocks, I think financials continue to remain weak. So M&M Financial is a sell with a stop of 445, target of 430. LIC Housing is a sell with a stop of 476, target of 460. BEL is a sell with a stop of 92, target of 80. Chambal Fertilizer is a buy with a stop of 158, target of 170. And PVR is a buy with a stop of 1340. Look for targets of 1375.
That's Ashwani's call. Sudarshan, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning. Anuj, there is a mix of buying and selling. Today should be choppy rather than have a one weight, because we have had two large range bars on the downside. So in a choppy market, some of the outperformers should do well on the buy side. That starts with Oro Pharma, which I am recommending to buy. Pharma has been in a good shape even in this decline, and the smallest of dips is a buying opportunity. We have a small dip in Oro Pharma and we should go and buy it. The second buying comes in Mindtree. Same story. IT is in a strong wicket. This is a dip for both these sectors. This is not a bear market for them. We want to buy these minor dips. And the third, surprisingly, is RBL Bank, which has been outperforming the banking sector. So at least for the day, I'm looking to buy it. While IT and Pharma are, say, position trading ideas also, RBL Bank is just for the day. I have two quick shorts, and I have a question for Lata after that. One is Dish TV. One is Dish TV. It's in a bear market. Go and sell it. Infratel. It's another bear market. Go and sell it. And the question is, much earlier when the rupee started weakening, Lata said, this is something that should happen and is good for the economy. And so at least that helped a lot in getting our thoughts clear. What is the view now?
Okay. Well, I remember Ashwani retorting by saying, be careful what you wish for because it might come true. Well, you know, this was needed because we were stable for too long, you know, and for the last four years, the rupee has been buying less internally. I mean, we have an inflation of, say, 5% on an average. So if the rupee buys fewer potatoes, sooner or later it will buy fewer dollars. That correction had to come. It didn't come for 4 years. It's very difficult. It's almost like asking at what point is a stock correctly priced to reflect its earnings. I mean, it so much depends on the mood. So there isn't really one single answer to it. There is something called a BIS-REER, Real Effective Exchange Rate, where you compare the Indian rupee with its inflation to other countries, other trading partners, and their inflation. So, you know, there people still think it's a little overvalued. It could go a little more. But it never stops at, say, you would like it to be 73 to reach the long-range average REER. It won't stop there. It will always overshoot and then find its own equilibrium. But short point is not everyone thinks it's fallen enough to compensate for 4 years of steady performance.
You know, yesterday or day before, I think Samir had a nice tweet. He said, investor says, I'm having a great time. All my stocks are up. Why should I care about what's happening to currency? Friend, what will you do with so much money? Well, I'll go to a holiday abroad, I'll buy an iPhone, I'll send my children to US to study. Best of luck.
Okay, all right, that's the currency. Let's see what it does today. It's been really giving people a harrowing time. Anyhow, Mitesh, let's come down to your stock ideas for the day as well.
So I have two buys to two sell calls. Bajaj Auto is a buy for me. The stock has come down at the gap support area. Good levels to initiate long positions. Take a stop just below 2808 and look for targets closer to about 2900. There's a cash stock called JSL or Jindal Stainless Hisar. I think that's given a good breakout day before, and yesterday was a pullback day. So again, comes into the buying zone. Keep a stop below 135 and look for targets of 150 here. Two sell calls. CG Power negative expansion continues, so sell with a stop at 56. Look for targets of 50. And IGL is also on the sell list. Sell with a stop at 270. Look for declines to about 252 kind of zones.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, lots more questions for you, obviously, in a market like this. But we'll get back to you in a minute. Crude is the big worry, and therefore we have an expert joining us. That 2% surge overnight is even worse. And, of course, in addition to the impending Iran deadline, sanctions deadline, you also have a hurricane. David Lennox of Fat Profits has joined in. Good morning, David. Well, you've been maintaining this 74-84 range for crude prices, but are we getting close to 84, the way things are adding up in terms of Iran?
Certainly, if you have a look at what's been happening over the last couple of days, as you've mentioned, we've got Hurricane Florence barreling down the east coast of the US, expected to hit landfall somewhere between North and South Carolina. That may disrupt for a short period operations out of the Gulf of Mexico, so that certainly put traders on alert. We also had overnight the API numbers come out, and this was really quite a staggering change. The drawdown was about 8.6 million barrels. Markets were expecting a modest 1.27 million draw, so that really did catch traders' eyes, and we saw the WTI price really surge ahead of that, and we then also saw Brent following. The other factor that's also come out of the US, and we've seen some now forecast for 2019 that had suggested that there's going to be less US domestic production because of bottlenecking than was perhaps thought. We've seen estimates from 11.7 million barrels, and they've now come down to 11.5 million barrels on that bottlenecking. So when you throw that all together, no wonder we had quite a positive day on the oil price overnight. However, Latha, we're not expecting to see those conditions continue. Obviously, Florence will go away. We will see further revisions of US domestic production. We do think that it is probably hitting that bottleneck, and the API numbers, well, we get the EIA numbers out official, and we'll see what they say.
Okay, so are you expecting a breach of 80 and all this talk around Iran and more Iranian crude going out of the market? Is it already factored in at these levels, David? What kind of an immediate range can we look at?
Yes, certainly we do think that we are now well aware of what's going to happen in Iran, and we're just waiting now for the time to wind down and those sanctions are implemented. Of course, as we've always been concerned, Iran will probably get oil out the back door, and that will no doubt happen. So that should keep somewhat of a lid on the impact that that sanction will have on energy prices. Look, in the near term, we've really, as I've said, we've stuck doggedly to our 70 to 80 WTI price and 74 to 84 Brent price. Now that we're drawing nearer to the end of 2018, we'll keep that price, and we'd suggest that in the short term, that's the range that we'll see both WTI and Brent trade up to.
Okay. Well, let's hope as Florence ebbs, the crude will ebb, simply because we have too many compounding problems here in India. Thank you very much, David Lennox, for joining us and giving us your thoughts on the crude market. Well, Florence will go away sooner or later, and therefore there should be some respite, hopefully, for the Indian markets and some less partying for oil bulls. We'll take a break on that note. Up next, we're going to discuss more stocks. We will have derivative strategies from Vinod Sharma, and we will also have Mr. S.P. Tulsian joining us with some long-term bets. Back, let's do some fundamental analysis now. The markets, are they at fundamentally attractive levels is the question we are asking. So let's invite Mr. sptulsian.com into the sptulsian of sptulsian.com into the conversation. Good morning, sir. Well, first up, I wanted to ask you about Titan. I mean, there was one brokerage note saying that because of the dates of the festive season, they could have a problem of lower sales in the September quarter anyway. The company also guided and gave a bit of a caveat for its guidance. What's your sense? Has the stock fallen enough to reflect the fundamentals? Okay. Well, I think we are not able to get that audio, so we'll do derivative strategies and then go to Mr. Tulsian. Good morning, Vinod. Today, any strategy on the Nifty, or are you only playing the stocks?
No, I'm playing the Nifty as well. And good morning, Lata. And my sense is that the market has gone overboard in terms of the fears arising out of Hurricane Florence. Let me tell our viewers that there is it is not touching any platform. It is neither touching the deep sea port of Louisiana, and it is going only in the east coast, which will essentially means South and North Carolina. Okay. So, and it can also, it may not touch also. After all, the landfall is expected Friday. That means after the markets closed Friday. That is the time it is expected. So you may not have a relief going in Friday because of crude, but I think my sense is the crude has gone ballistic, and at this point of time, it makes sense to not to worry about the crude because it is going to come back sliding down. So our sense is that we will buy in the afternoon, not in the morning. So we'll buy in the afternoon, and I will buy the Nifty. I don't think it is going to break the 11,200 level. 11,171, 11,200, which was earlier the support, if we will now act as a resistance, will now act as a support. So we do not expect the Nifty to touch that level. So I'm buying the 11,300 call at 105, which quoted at 150 yesterday. So should it come down, will be a buyer. So that price may come in only in the afternoon. Stop loss at 50 and target around 200. That is for the Nifty.
Okay. Vinod, good morning. What about individual stocks then?
Yes. Individually, I'm looking at those stocks which haven't, let's say, not done fundamentally so long, and the derivatives positions also are not on the greater side. The stock has fallen almost 7%. That is ITC. I am buying the 300 call at around 4 rupees. Stop loss. I don't have a stop loss here. I'll buy that at 4 rupees, maybe a stop loss of 2 and a target of around 10. Currently, it quotes at around 5.5, so should it fall to around 4, I'll buy at that point of time. Maruti is another stock which I'm buying, and I'm buying the 8,600 call at 120. It quoted at 142 yesterday, so should it fall as much, that is the point time at which we can buy. Keep a stop loss at 80 and a target of around 200 for that is Maruti.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Vinod. Okay, some more stocks. Sorry.
Yes.
Bata, I think.
Yeah.
Bata is also, that's a buy for you.
Bata is a short, essentially.
Okay.
So investors who have hold the stock can definitely buy the put here. 1020 put at around 25, stop loss at 18, target of around 38. And another is SBI. Because of the, let's say, Bank Nifty, let's say, settlement today, could be under pressure. So I'll use that opportunity to buy it later. So I'm buying the 285 call at around 6. Yesterday it closed at around 8 rupees. Stop loss at 4 and target of around 11.
Okay. All right. With that, thank you very much, Vinod, and have a good trading week. A holiday tomorrow, and
Yes.
I guess a lighter week ahead. Let's now invite Mr. Sudarshan. Good morning, sir. I hope you can hear me now. I was asking you about Titan. There are some brokerages who are worrying about second quarter numbers because the festive season is coming in later, and the company itself had guided for a lower than 25% sales. They had made it to 20 to 25%. What's your sense? Has the price fallen enough to reflect the new reality?
That's right, Lata. In fact, this seemed to be a foregone conclusion that they don't expect anything, positive coming in from the Q2 numbers, and the management has already guided for that. But I have always been taking a call that, see the range of the stock. And it is seen, moving in a range of about 810, 820 to about 900 rupees or maybe 880. And it has come to the lower end of the range ahead, but still, we still have about 1 month or so for the Q2 numbers to come in. And this is right, because this time Diwali and the marriage season will start from the middle of November. So buying ahead of that will only start from the first week of October. So yes, the Q2 will going to disappoint, but I think that the same has already seen having factored into the price. And in fact, if you see the classic trading pattern of this stock, it has been moving in a range of about 810, 820 to about 880 to 890, for the last maybe about 45 days or so. So I think that share having corrected to the current level of about 820, maybe looked into at the level of 810 to 820.
Okay, Mr. Sen, good morning. What about something like HUL? That's also corrected about 10%. Is this enough, or do you think it warrants some more correction?
See, Anuj, in fact, we have been taking a call, the renewed buying call. Yesterday in the afternoon also, I've said that we are in fact quite comfortable now on the private sector bank. Few financials, in which one can include the stocks like maybe Bajaj Finance, L&T Finance, and the FMCG space also. Prominent amongst them could be maybe Britannia, HUL kind of stocks also, because they've already seen the good kind of correction. If you have the pedigree and if you have the seen growth, because mind it that this time the Kharif crop is going to be the record production, all-time high, and that will again be seeing the good amount of consumption coming in. Probably people got gung-ho on the volume growth growth in the Q1, having seen from many of the FMCG company, but that was partly with the effect of the low base and the maybe that GST effect, and that has not seen having translated into the earnings in that proportion. But yes, having corrected by about 10 to 15% on the FMCG space, we are buyer, and in fact including on HUL as well.
Okay. Mr. Tulsian, today there is this meeting on ethanol. Now, I don't know if they increase the price, if they want to prepone the blending targets, increase blending, etc. But how would you view sugar stocks in this light?
See, again, the news flow is coming in that they may think to increase 25%, on the ethanol prices. If that happens, that will really be seen very good. But I have my doubts, because if you really see the ethanol prices now at about 45 rupees, and you cannot expect an increase of about 11.5 rupees on the ethanol prices to 56, because then OMCs probably may not find it attractive, because the petrol which we are buying at 86, 88 has a larger component of the tax involved into it. And we are talking of the sugar mill or selling price of ethanol at 55, 56, which is not seen likely. But yes, going forward, if the government will definitely be serious in including the blending program, because government has for the years, have taken a mandate to raise it to 10%, and they have not even reached to the level of 5%. But having seen the huge increase in the sugar production, even the coming season will be having sugar production of about 35-36 million ton. That can really give the huge boost to this blending program, because earlier the ethanol was not available. 1/3 was going for potable, 1/3 was going for industrial, and 1/3 was available for blending purposes. But now, with production having increased by about 30-40% in the current season as well as the forthcoming season, they can really, so even that happens, the acceleration of the blending program, even to the extent of 5% pan-India or maybe 7-7.5% will be seen positive for the sugar mills.
Okay. And I also wanted your take on Maruti. Mr. Tulsian, the stock has not been very favored lately. Of course, it's fallen a little more than the market has. What's your, I mean, now there is news which our colleague broke that they're looking for for a new piece of land in Haryana, close to Gurugram, and they may even shift the production. Is all this relevant for you when you pick the stock itself?
See, Lata, again, as I've said for the financials, private sector bank and FMCG, same is the case with Maruti also, the victim of the overvaluation exuberance, which also seen having corrected and factored into the price. I agree that, the last 2 months sales, monthly sales, if you see it is at sub 1,60,000 vehicles per month has been, slightly lower. But I think once this festive season, which is, coming to about a month later, is going to see the good offtake of the vehicles coming in respect to that shifting of the plant from Gurgaon, again, to in the same Haryana state, is just a matter of the policy, and I don't think that there will be any kind of disruption, because Maruti is a cash-rich company. They will create the infrastructure first at the new location and then will shift from Gurgaon, because already the Gujarat plant have seen having stabilized at 2.5 lakh vehicles per annum, and even there the capacity increase is being made. So I think it will be a seamless shift from this one, and even if they do it, they shift from Gurgaon. I'm not too gung-ho, on the land monetization or the value of that, but I don't think that this will be seen any kind of disruption or any kind of extra capex being put on the burden being put on the company for this shift.
Just to follow up, sir, besides the overvaluation, do you think with rates going up so much, 8.2 on the 10-year, and definitely it's going to translate into higher lending rates by banks, does that usually act as a dampener for car buyers?
See, Lata, in fact, if you see the rate reduction, the interest rate reduction cycle has come to an end. And in fact, people will, if not in the near term, they will start accepting and realizing that the old days have gone. Now we have to think of accepting the interest rate hike effectively of maybe about 100 basis points as well in the next 6 to 12 months. And then going forward, I think you may have the near-term disruption, maybe on the home finance front, maybe on the NBFC front, because that has been seen, little compression on the margins of the financiers as well as on the producers also, like the cars and all that. But I don't think that will really be seen of such a big thing, because it will be a natural acceptance by the borrowers also, which will be having a marginal effect on the vehicle purchases.
Okay. Well, we'll do one thing. We have lots more questions for you. We have to take a quick break. We'll come back. We will even have the pre-opening rates with us and more advice from our experts.